So, Pujapan, we can start the recording as well today.
Yeah, I've started already.
Who am I? One of the things that happens to us as we pass through the various stages of life is we acquire labels from the world outside. From the moment of birth till death, from cradle to grave, we are given labels. Labels connected to gender, name, nationality, race, religion, profession, family status, position in an organization, and so on and so forth. And as we live in the world of labels, what tends to happen is that gradually we absorb those labels into our consciousness. And when that takes place, we become distant from our true inner and eternal identity. And this causes the soul to lose power. This causes us to lose control of the way we feel and brings us into emotional outbursts. This condition, which we may describe as spiritual pollution, is the root cause of any actions or behaviors which give sorrow to the self and sorrow to other people. And this in turn creates a chain reaction which influences the way other people behave. So the first step to spiritually depolluting my own consciousness is to explore the question, who am I? As you sit comfortably, just take a few moments to be with yourself and just allow the outside world to remain outside. Bring your attention in towards yourself. Bring your attention up to the center of your forehead. And here at the center of the forehead, picture a wonderful star of peaceful light. And this star of peaceful light in the center of your forehead, this is the star of peace. Picture this wonderful star radiating rays of peaceful energy in all four directions. And these rays of peace, they spread throughout my whole body, sending healing energy to every part of the body, sending healing energy to every part of the body. Hold this image of the beautiful star of peaceful light this wonderful star of peace. This is me. This is I, the eternal soul. I am this living point of spiritual energy. I am eternal. I am light. I am non-physical. I am peace. This peace has always been inside me. This peace is my deepest, my truest, and my original state. I simply have to be aware. I am peaceful soul. And by maintaining this awareness, I naturally allow the property of peace to emerge from within myself once again. My mind enjoys being at peace. My mind enjoys being in peace. My mind enjoys the taste of peace. Let me stay with this feeling of peace and keep it with me at all times.
आत्मदर्शन स्वयं का दर्शन आत्मदर्शन स्वयं का दर्शन आत्म ज्योति जगा ले बुझी हुई जगा कर ज्योति स्वराज्य फिर पाले आत्मदर्शन स्वयं का दर्शन
Om Shanti. Thank you for the beautiful commentary, Pooja Ben. And thank you for the beautiful song, though it was very short, but yes, perfect for this time. So I want to welcome you all back and just wanted to check with all of you if you were able to monitor your thought and if you were able to observe your thoughts. What was your experience? Were you able to redirect your negative thoughts and waste thoughts? And were you able to perceive yourself as a soul and others as a soul? So maybe you can write it in chat and Pooja Ben can read that, or you can unmute your mic and speak for a short while. Did anyone practice anything? Did you get time for that? Nobody did anything? No practice? Any comments? It could be interactive if you want.
This is my first time, but I did feel.
Sorry, your volume, maybe. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is my first night, but I felt light, enlightened, just with a couple minutes. So it felt good.
Wonderful. Very good. So, so you've requested that somebody's requested for the recap, and we do have a video, incidentally, which the recording was made yesterday, so we can send it to some of them who've missed it, because each lesson is building on the other previous lesson. So it's important we understand what we did in the first lesson. So in the last lesson, which was just yesterday evening, we looked at the nature of thought. We learned about the thinker, the soul, and we began to develop our spiritual identity, which is what is my form, my location as a soul, lifespan, original nature, what is my purpose, what is my role, all of these things. And of course, before that, much before that, we talked about the definition of meditation and what benefits it brings, and why is it called Raj Yoga meditation, and what type of thoughts we have. And this meditation is entirely based on thoughts. So it's very important that we pay attention to the thought process, what we have, what we are thinking. And then we talked about how to control those thoughts on the basis of SOS, which is stop, observe, and steer. So, so basically, this is all, and we did about who the thinker is. The thought come in mind, but who is the thinker? And then we talked about that it's the soul who is the real entity, the spiritual entity. We are not bodies, but the soul, and that the soul is the thinker, and then talked about the form, location, lifespan, and so on of the soul, who we are. We defined Om Shanti to you, which is how we address everyone, to each other, reminding that we are peaceful soul. And of course, the difference between body and soul consciousness. So that is what we did yesterday. And today we are going to go deeper into the three main aspects of consciousness, because I, the soul, I am consciousness. And I feel, I think, I do because of that energy of consciousness within the body. But when I'm not in the body, when I, the consciousness, I, the soul, I'm not in the body's corpse, and it just doesn't move or doesn't function. So today we are going to go into three main aspects of consciousness. So let me open the PowerPoint and share it with you. Let me see if I'm able to do that. Not very good with all of this. So Pujavan, can you make me the host, please? Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, you're added as a host. Are you able to share? Didi, are you able to share now? You are host.
I think you've. It's my
Oh,
phone
oh.
which is the host, probably.
Okay, okay, okay. So
No, it's
I
okay.
will have. Yeah.
No, let me see if I can do something.
Okay.
I'm not, like I said.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, now we can. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was speaking on mute. Apologies on that. Okay. So today we are going to talk about three aspects of consciousness. So we had tried to establish that we are, a spiritual being in a physical body, and that the spiritual being is consciousness itself. And we're going to today dive a little bit deeper into what are the three aspects of consciousness. So, the three aspects of consciousness, what we see on the screen is mind, intellect, and sanskars, which are impressions on the soul. So this includes the ability to think, remember, understand, decide, express, so many things, many, many more. So in order to work effectively with our own consciousness, it is very useful to distinguish all these three aspects or faculties of the soul. it's important in our meditation to understand what they are. So the first aspect is the mind. It's simply the thinking part. It is the most superficial level of consciousness, and it functions with the energy of thought. It's a creative faculty. So mind has many, many essential functions. It thinks, imagining, creating ideas, experiencing feelings and sensations, desiring, and so on. So the soul uses the mind to generate thoughts, create images and ideas, create experiences, sensations, feelings, desires, emotions, and all that. So the mind can be compared to a factory, a screen, or a train station. Let's call it a train station, with various trains of thought arriving and departing. So there's a difference between the mind and the brain. So brain is the hardware, mind is part of the software. And mind has two modes. Typically it'll have an active and a passive component to it. And in Raj Yoga meditation, we use the active mode. And we can think of mind as the mother of our thoughts. So it's like, imagine a screen. So mind is a screen, and thoughts are projected as sensations, image, ideas on that screen of the mind. And whatever impact they cause, it gives you an experience. Feeling or emotion is created. For example, if you think, supposing of an example of a banana, right? Immediately that curved yellow image appears on the mind screen, the mental screen, gets very creative. But it's the image of the banana which is immediately projected. And possibly sometimes you can even feel that sensation or texture or taste in your mouth. Okay? There was a student, very, very old, who used to come from Sinclair Community College. She was 85 years old. She wanted to learn Raj Yoga meditation. And I'm talking about 20 years back. And she would say that my mother had once given me a slap. It was so, all her 5 fingers got imprinted as a child. And she told me that I still feel that vibration and that impact of that slap on my face till today. Imagine 80 years had passed and she was still able to recall that experience. So the feeling, sometimes that feeling of negativity, perhaps related to something you've experienced yourself, can also be generated. So mind has the amazing capacity to take on the form of whatever you're thinking about and extract a feeling of the quality that comes with the form. So what that means is that if we want to feel good, we have to have the thoughts that bring the quality of goodness. If we want to feel the feeling of love, we want to have the thoughts which bring the quality of love. Peace, happiness, all of that are very, very straightforward. So there cannot be a greater incentive towards positive, pure, powerful thinking, because your thoughts create your feelings and your experience. every single day. So the ideal state of mind is the one in which there is clarity of thought. We find that elevated, pure thoughts, like we talked about yesterday, they have long wavelengths. They're big spaces between crest and trough. That is the wavelength. And the longer the wavelength, the longer the silence, pause, right? When there are negative thoughts, they superimpose one on top of each other, and the wavelength becomes very, very small. And what we find is it's like wild horses racing together. Thoughts get very fast, and the wavelength becomes small, it's shorter. So you don't experience silence. And don't forget, the screen by itself is very, very silent. The backdrop on which the thoughts are projected is silent. So as you will be experiencing more and more thoughts, it will become easier for you to see the pattern of thoughts which clutter this screen. And you will become such an expert yourself that you'll say, oh, I don't need this thought. Why is this thought coming to me? For no rhyme or reason, mind has this quality of projecting these thoughts from old time past or future. It doesn't like to be in the present because it likes to have power over the soul. So mind, it'll just keep on putting you in that web. It'll create thoughts you don't want. And then you start to identify with any of the thought and it gets you trapped. So one has to be very, very conscious of the thoughts we are creating and where it's taking us. Yeah? Because it does create our experience. So this is something about mind. Yeah. The second aspect of consciousness is basically intellect. So this is also one of the very subtle aspects of consciousness. And intellect is very, very important. Buddhi jise kehte hain. Mind is man, intellect is buddhi. And buddhi, it filters, it discerns, it even decides, it balances, all those kind of things. It identifies, recognizes, judges. So Raj Yoga meditation is the meditation of intellect. Intellect is the faculty of understanding. And it's sometimes also called the third eye, Tisra Netra. It's the eye of conscience, where, it's like the story of Pinocchio. When you lie, the nose keeps getting bigger. The third eye keeps getting closed if you are not, truthful, or are you into many, many vices and so many things. So the third eye needs a special treatment, which is what the intellect is. It is the prime faculty of discerning, understanding, and deciding. So intellect क्या है? समझ, है ना? समझ है. और समझ के संग decision making capacity भी intellect में है. So this third eye, which is the intellect, बुद्धि को खुला होना चाहिए if we are to make better decisions, if we want to have better quality of life. So understanding is very, very important. For example, if you want to do better in meditation, you need to understand the theory before you can do the practical. But if you're not able to understand something, how will you practice it, right? So intellect helps you to understand, and then you are able to put it into practice. So, there are many aspects of intellect. Let's go over that first. Essential functions: discerning, remembering, recognizing, understanding, knowing, reasoning, decision making, associating, creating, filtering, identifying, judging. And so many functions intellect, plays the role of so many things. So, sometimes some people think that tolerance means putting up with people and not saying anything. But when we start to tolerate by suppressing, then there's a lot of aggression which is created inside. And tolerance, then people conclude very easily, hey, tolerance doesn't work. But it has to be, anything has to be tolerated in the right way, in the right sense, with balance. Same with humility. Sometimes people say, oh, I was being humble, people are walking all over me. So they feel they can't be honest in this world, they have to be dishonest because it doesn't work being honest and all that. So for us to be able to practice this effectively, we have to understand these things. So the key function of the intellect is to correctly understand. So we must understand words like tolerance and love and trust and humility in the right frame or right reference so that we can use it correctly, So there are many ways the intellect works. For correct understanding, intellect really works like a microscope. So, microscope, it's like examining the details, very, very minutest details. And it works as a telescope. It sees ahead of time. So, understanding the consequences of an action, consequence of a thought, a word, an action, all of those things. So basically, if there is a situation which is coming and we want to really, take an action on that, intellect will very quickly look into the future and come back and even give you, the details of if you do this, then this could be the consequence, right? A lot of times we hear this voice, oh, if this is what you'll do, this will be good. But if you do this, this will be negative. And we hear those voices within the system, and the soul is speaking in this voice, or the intellect is speaking because it's using all of these, aids, which are the tools, the microscopic way to look at things, the telescopic way, even periscope. Periscope is, something you see in submarines. And it's like that camera comes out, it looks all around, observes, and goes back in. So it's like almost the intellect is introspective, right? It's, it will go in within you and take all that information and figure out what is the right thing to do, right? So with the help of microscope, telescope, and periscope, intellect is able to have the correct holistic understanding, because we are very narrow in our vision. In some ways, when we are in a situation, we are not able to go outside of the situation to make the right choices. But if we are able to listen to the intellect, and if it's open, then we are able to use this correct understanding to make the right judgment. Yeah. So the intellect also has the power of choice. You choose how to respond to a situation. So we normally in meditation, we are told that don't react, but respond. Respond means you take your time, think through it, and then come up with a solution. So when you have the power of choice, you truly can't blame anyone because you're the one who chose to do that. So you can't accuse others of the situation you are in, or for your unhappiness. So we do sometimes make wrong choices, but fortunately what is good is the intellect has a special capacity to learn and relearn, so it's able to do that. So next time we can make the right choice. So intellect definitely is the ruler of the inner state. Buddhi, hai na? Wisdom, like even our parents used to say, buddhi ka istemal karo apna. Intellect is the principal faculty of human consciousness. It is the third eye. And it's a very, very powerful and benign ruler. And what we see is when somebody has a sharp intellect, they're able to quickly and clearly distinguish truth from falsehood, real from unreal, you know, right from wrong, and things like that. But some person who has a dull intellect might not be able to make that choice correctly and might be dishonest or, you know, um, make meaningless decisions. Somebody with a sluggish intellect is confused, dishonest, and accepts even incorrect assessments, and and is unable to distinguish between what is real, what is fake, or what is real, what is fantasy, something to that effect. So intellect also acts as a doorkeeper or a filter, and it allows or refuses entry into the process, the dynamic process of consciousness, what needs to go in and what needs to remain out. So it basically permits entry, and if there is continued negativity or waste, then initially it will continue to tell you, it's like that antaratma ki awaaz, don't do this, it will not bring into good results. And we'll come with an example after going through the third aspects of consciousness, which is sanskars. So the deepest level of consciousness, subconscious or unconscious impressions of, you know, of every experience are called sanskars. Sanskars are nothing but impressions of every experience in our lifetime. Every nanosecond is recorded on the soul as sanskars or impressions. So going back, when the intellect, buddhi, makes a decision, it comes into action, into expression, right? The action, when repeated many, many times, it becomes a habit. And after a time, it works naturally within the self, right? So every action that you perform leaves a mark in the soul as a sanskar. And the tendency of sanskar is to typically self-organize, that is, to group themselves according to quality and function. So it's like saying, sanskars are actually not bad. In fact, they're essential, the basis of all learning. It's like you're tying one's shoelace. Our sanskars, both positive and negative, have accumulated over one or more births. And what we find is that, if we want to learn how to ride a bike or tie shoelace, we'll repeatedly do that action. And initially, a very thin impression is formed. And when we repeatedly do that action, that impression gets very, very deep. And when that impression gets deep, the sanskar gets deeper. And this also explains the phenomena of child prodigy, right? Mozart at the age of 4 wrote, a sonata concert for piano. These compositions were not only, very, very accurate technically, but they were very, very difficult as well. He wrote a complete opera at the age of 7. Can you believe that? And we see many, many, um, programs these days where children of 2, 3, 4 are reciting scriptures or doing math programs or doing dances and songs at such high potential, that level, that it's all that you can see child prodigies. They are carrying their impressions of past lives into this life as well, right? So so how do sanskar works? The essential functions of sanskars are storage of impressions as images, sounds, feelings, and thought patterns. And the organization of impressions are as memories, habits, tendencies, values, beliefs, learning, talents, instincts, personality traits. So the storage is like, assume them as drawers, and the organization of impressions is as files. And so you have, whenever any file is needed, the sanskar of that emerges immediately. And we can understand that very easily by remembering something of this birth itself. We don't know about past, most of us can't remember, but as a child, something might have happened, and we can remember that in detail, either happy or unhappy situation. And when we go back, we can actually even see the entire image on the screen of our mind going as a train of thoughts. And we can play that episode completely, isn't it? So how does that happen? How do you revert back 40, 50, 60 years back in time? Because every second has been recorded. All sanskars, everything that we have done in this lifetime and earlier lifetimes, all of them have been recorded. So these impressions, you know, uh, definitely form our memories, beliefs, opinions, attitudes, behavior patterns, personality traits, and so on. So they are the basis of our individual uniqueness. They are our personality traits. So when we, typically describe, if a child is born, we say, बहुत ही शांत स्वभाव का है. That his personality is very peaceful, right? Or if a, lady comes in the family married to our children, we say, oh, she is, bringing a lot of divine sanskars. So person is, good or happy natured or boring or arrogant or whatever, on the, on the basis of their dominant sanskars. So there are some sanskars which are very, very dominant, and we call them personality traits. They are creating the personality of the person. So these sanskars are recordings, and they're recordings of life that is influencing us. Those recording of are influencing us, and they're like, background music always playing in the mind. And what we find is that the negative or body conscious sanskars are based on I-ness and minus, and they include anger and fear and competition, insecurity, revenge, hopelessness, I would think inferiority, superiority, all these complexes, right? So when I think about I, me, my, then this is body conscious sanskars. And there's also another recording, which is of self, the soul, which includes love, pure love, peace, happiness, purity, truth, knowledge. All of these are original state of consciousness. And currently, if you see, our sanskars have actually become mixed. We sometimes feel positive, sometimes we can't hold on to it, and we feel very, very negative. So sanskars can be changed, when we are determined to change a certain habit or personality trait within us, we can change our sanskars. We get sanskars which are original sanskars, those of purity, peace, happiness, love, and all that. We also get sanskars from our parents, we get sanskars from the environment. And we also bring sanskars from past lives. So many, and then we can change the sanskars. So 5 type of sanskars define our personality traits at any given point in time. Yeah. And I believe that's all we have to say in sanskars. Let's see. Okay. So 3 aspects of consciousness: mind, intellect, and sanskars. Mind, the superficial level. The real one is basically the intellect. Man, buddhi, or sanskar. Or sanskars are the recording. And basically, they are what defines our personality. So now what we're going to do is we are going to learn today, how do we meditate? A thought was coming to me that there's an example which I wanted to give you, and you might have heard it also. There's a child who's in middle school, and he is basically wanting to smoke because his friends are smoking. And when he sees others smoke, he thinks, maybe I should try it. But the intellect, which is the conscience, the voice within, the voice of conscience, will constantly tell you, if you do it, it's not good for you. But the mind keeps telling you, hey, if you don't do it, you'll not be accepted by the other kids. So he takes the first cigarette and smokes. And of course, the same logic keeps on going. He wants to smoke. The intellect tells him, don't smoke. But he doesn't listen to the intellect. And of course, it goes into action. So it becomes a sanskar. and he becomes an addict, right? So after a while, what happens is intellect stops telling the child that he needs to stop doing it because it's not good for you. Because it's used at its microscopic, telescopic, periscopic view, given the holistic aspect, but mind is also playing games and the child is not able to understand. So what happens is there comes a time when there is a thought of doing something and it directly goes into action, and the intellect has a lid. It closes itself and doesn't open till you try to open it. So you are not able to really decipher when the intellect is not telling you what's right and wrong, that judgment is not happening, then mind will have a thought and it'll go straight into action, which is sanskars. And that is very, very dangerous. And you find in the Iron Aged world, which is Kali Yuga, most of the souls are living on, in that way, that the intellect has stopped giving them any suggestion. It's closed. And they're doing things which they shouldn't be, but it's up to every individual. So we need to be very conscious that whenever we are doing something or making a decision, am I hearing the voice within? Is it telling me something? And then we make that decision. You will find 100% of the time, it will be the correct decision. Yeah. So that is something I wanted to share with you, that you don't want that intellect, shuts down completely. You don't want that. So now, and another thing which was coming to my mind yesterday was that, meditation is a natural process of transformation. You do not, absolutely do not need to struggle against the negativity. When you re-emerge your original qualities of the soul, your nature, negativity will naturally finish. And what the example we give you is that if you are in a dark room, you don't have to send out the darkness, but if you turn on the switch of light, the darkness will automatically go away, right? So this is a very, very beautiful example, because then we don't have to, focus on the um, negativity to finish. But all we need to do is to bring positivity within ourselves, and it will be a good thing to do, because it will automatically, um, you know, immerse the natural nature of positivity, of happiness, of peace. And that is what we normally strive for. So let's go on the next slide, which is the process of meditation. So this meditation, what we do is normally in 4 stages. So the first stage is the initial or focus stage. So initial or focus stages, we free the mind from the influence of negative thoughts or negative sanskars by emerging the positive ones. And so we create thoughts of high quality, which release the mind from its stream of ordinary, thoughts, or mundane thoughts, or negative thoughts. So, it is not really thinking ordinary thoughts or routinely. You have to really have thoughts of very high quality to make that decision. I mean, once you make the decision and you start to practice, and that is why we play commentaries, because they have these elevated thoughts initially, and slowly, when your mind and intellect gets used to of these commentaries, you can generate your own. So it becomes a habit, sanskar. So, so it's not about making your mind blank or stopping your thoughts. Rather, it's about transforming the quality of thoughts. So, when you start to meditate, you turn your attention within and become aware of your inner state, shifting to your identity as a soul. So instead of thinking that I am a body, you think that I am the soul, the master who is animating or moving the body, right? So relax and focus attention on the forehead, thinking this is where I reside in the body. So we talked about that this is where I sit in the middle of the forehead, between the eyebrows, and little bit, probably an inch deeper. So choose a topic to explore, experience, such as your innate positive quality of peace or immortality. So any topic of your interest at that particular time, which is positive, yeah, just spiritual love, or I'm a being of peace, or I'm a soul, or whatever the topic you want, you can have that topic. That is the initial. So your mind will start to catch the flow of spirituality, and before long you will move gently into the next stage. So the next stage is stage of contemplation. So in the stage of contemplation, you start to turn your mind within. You've already considered yourself to be a soul. So you've already told your mind to set aside all the thoughts which are connected to your work or your family or relationships and feelings and whatever. You set your mind to focus on a certain topic or a theme which is elevated in consciousness. So you call to your mind all the ideas, all the feelings, everything you choose, and you stimulate the mind to think about the topic you have chosen. You encourage thoughts that feed the mind and give energy to the spirit. So it is the fuel, the thoughts which are positive, pure, powerful, they are the fuel to get the soul off the ground, which means off the body, which means you start to float, you start feeling light. So try to feel, experience the quality of virtue that you're thinking about. Clarify rather than suppress distractions. So you'll feel that your mind is going from left to right, some other thoughts are coming. You let the thoughts move and you come back to the commentary that is playing, and check your level of interest in your topic. If interest wanes, you can always change your topic of focus. Yeah. So this is the stage of contemplation. So then we have the stage of concentration. So you acknowledge the experience of peace, purity, and power you're beginning to experience. So stage of concentration is a little more, focused. There'll be no distractions at this point. You'll begin to experience yourself as a peaceful, pure, loving, powerful soul, and allow yourself at that time to be at peace with yourself, peace with the world, peace with the supreme consciousness, and then you savor them and continue deepening the experience as long as possible. Evoke the feeling of other related innate qualities, acknowledging that this is the real you. You will start to experience yourself as a soul. That energy of consciousness will start to shift within the middle of the forehead, and you'll start experiencing something. And that is who you are, the soul. So your elevated thoughts now are typically producing elevated vibrations, and you are experiencing them. Yeah. So basically, you'll feel that you have an inner glow, or you'll feel something in the middle of the forehead which is churning. And that is natural, that is correct, and that is the real you. So the shift from thinking to feeling is the stage of concentration. And concentration also means where the mind is giving a thought and the intellect is visualizing the same thought in one consciousness. That is concentration. When both are aligned, mind is giving the thought and intellect is visualizing that point of light. If mind is saying, I am a pure point of light, then that vision will be there. So this is the stage of concentration. And then expand your feelings to include natural love and respect for all. Yeah. So, when we continue to explore the original qualities of soul by thinking of ourselves as loving, that I'm a child of God, the ocean of love, I'm full of love. Spiritual love includes tolerance and acceptance and respect. So then we will see that natural love, will we will start to feel for ourselves and others, because that is the vibration which will be emitted from us, I, the soul. So we will feel that love for everyone, that love and respect and mercy and, acceptance, and all of those good qualities will flow through you. And after that is the last one, which is the stage of realization. So it's the experience, the aha. You reach that highest epitome of meditation where you just say, I don't want to come back to the real world because I'm just feeling so blissful. So it's like you're just being, we've become doings, like they say. We are always running outside of us, running in the physical world, doing things. But when we start to experience I, the soul, that is being, you will just be. And the topic you initially chose to explore will not really matter at that time, because you will be experiencing all the qualities, original qualities of the soul. Allow your realization to manifest as a real and permanent change in the self. And that realization, the more we are in that consciousness, there is an innate, change that is happening at the soul level, which is a permanent change. Anytime we are changing, you know, by looking at the candle, staring at the candle, not talking for some time, those are very, very transient, temporary changes. But when we are meditating and we are at this realization stage, there is, atom to atom change within the soul itself, and those changes are permanent changes. We are able to transform uh, our sanskars from within. So that is the stage of realization. So there's a lot of importance we give to silence in meditation because it helps to create an inner sanctuary, a meditation room in our mind. It enables us to connect with the essence of our being, and it enables to the accumulation of inner power. So I would suggest that make a small little area in your home which you can keep neat and clean. And when you start to meditate, the vibrations of that place will become higher, highly positive, pure. And you'll find that with time, you'll be able to meditate better and better because that place also is holding on to the vibrations you're creating, right? So, you'll be surprised. Sometimes you will sit and reach a stage in meditation of so much of peace and happiness and bliss that you'll say, oh, 15, 20, 30 minutes have passed. I don't know where the time flew. Yeah. So initially the thoughts will come because we have always let the mind be like a wild horse running without reins. But once we start to control the mind, we will see that we will start to feel that peace and happiness. So, this is how meditation will work. So, a lot of successful tips for success. Regular practice make meditation a part of your life, a way of living. Stop often for a moment of introspection to reaffirm who you are. And then experimentation, see your mind as a lab and experiment with new positive thoughts, feelings, and ideas. Allow yourself the time to understand and practice the ideas you are learning. So don't take my word for it. Experience yourself and tell me if it works for you or not. Yeah? Om Shanti. So this is all we have for in today's chapter. And I hope, of course, we give you not the entire thing because the classes are short. But today, what I want to do is also, um, we can go into meditation. And I was thinking maybe I'll do a verbal or oral meditation, and we can all sit in that together. Initially, we will sit with closed eyes, keeping our feet on the ground, uncrossed, and keeping our spinal cord straight. No mudras, no chanting, nothing is needed. Like I said yesterday, our meditation is thought based. So instead of playing a recorded commentary, I was thinking we can do the meditation, you know, um, um, in person. And let's see how you feel and if you are able to, experience even a little bit of what we are trying to accomplish here. Yeah. So, Pujaben, what do you think about that?
Yeah, Didi, that would be wonderful.
Okay. So let us, do that then.
Didi, could you please stop the screen share? talking on mute.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So yeah, we'll reduce the volume of the music a little bit, Pooja. The music a little bit low, just a tiny. Yeah, thank you. So what we're going to do is we will bring the energy of the body in the middle of the forehead and close our eyes so that we can orient ourselves. Spinal cord straight, legs uncrossed, and completely leaving all the thoughts of the work which is ahead in the day. I sit in silence, completely relaxed. Pooja, when the music needs to be down.
That's the computer audio, Didi. If I lower it down,
Keep it closer.
every device has to lower it down. That's how it
Turn
works.
it off. Thank you. I sit in silence and I disconnect myself from the things around me. The next 10 minutes or so are for me alone to know myself, to be with myself. I don't have to think about others. I don't need to worry about the things I still have to do. I ask myself, who am I? Who am I really? Automatically, my mind focuses towards the one I really am, the soul, the incorporeal light in the center of my forehead, the soul who is eternal, the spiritual self, the soul who's imperishable. The eternal point of light. Inside I, the soul, lie all my experiences, my whole identity. What I am is inside me, the tiny point of living light. Experience yourself that you are the living light in the middle of your forehead. You are the master running this body. This is who I really am. Immortal, eternal, I let these thoughts penetrate my mind. I am immortal, living light. I am incorporeal. I am not matter. I am not this body. Then I ask myself, what is my form? I am a point, very small, but so powerful. A point of spiritual light. I shine like a star, like a pure, clear star of light. I visualize myself as the star, and I realize that I, the soul, control my body from within this point in the center of my forehead. I am a point radiating light. And I ask myself, what are the original qualities of I, the soul? My original qualities is of pure divine peace. Peace is my original nature. The closer I get to myself, the deeper I go into my original peace. Peace, my original strength. I am no longer distracted by all the things around me. There is peace and silence. Peace is such a great power. It is the power of my true self, the power to be stable under all conditions. I allow this feeling of pure peace, the peace of my original nature, to flow through me. Peace belongs to me. Peace is me. And when I'm close to my real self, I notice how strong I am. I have inner strength, the power to be myself whenever I need to. I am beyond influences. I am completely inside, very quiet, very peaceful. I am at one with myself, peace and silence. In silence, I experience a feeling of love, love for who I really am, an understanding of myself, acceptance of myself, respect for my original eternal being. When I see myself in this way, love emerges. Om Shanti. Okay, so this was a small little meditation we did today. If there is anyone, 2 new messages.
So there are a few questions in the chat, Didi.
Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, because Bhaiya, he was asking, is there a slide for the body conscious and soul conscious sanskars
Yeah,
that you have mentioned in the class?
Yeah, I will give you that slide. If let me go back to the presentation.
Or we can email everyone.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna suggest. You can WhatsApp it if you can.
Okay, we will do that. That
Yeah, I
is
think
fine.
that was pretty important.
Yeah, that slide of soul consciousness and body consciousness, that's a good one. It is just that, yeah. So we can send you that slide, not an issue. Yeah. Is there anything
Thanks.
else?
Yeah, and then other question was, what were you saying in sanskar about jealousy? That was not clear. So that's Sister Radhika's question.
Sanskar about jealousy. Phil, I don't know what the reference was, but sanskars are impressions on the soul, and if you are carrying that sanskar of jealousy or love or hatred or whatever type of impressions you are creating, that will become the dominant sanskar for you. So I'm forgetting the
I
reference.
think, Didi, you were mentioning about I and mine. When we have I, the body consciousness becomes predominant.
Yes. So I and my, the sanskars of when you are thinking of yourself as a body, then these negative sanskars are emerging. And when you're thinking of yourself in the right way, which is that you are consciousness, your soul, then soul conscious sanskars are emerging, which are the original qualities of the soul. So anything which is body conscious, whenever you see anything negative emerging within you, you can safely assume that you are operating within the realms of body consciousness, which includes jealousy, as one of the sanskars. Every human being has a little bit of that, some more, some less. But all the negative sanskars come under that category. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next question Sister Radhika asked. So the meditation step 4 can transform the bad sanskar within us. So I think she wants more details in that.
Yeah. So this whole, the meditation is all about the soul's transformation. It's the journey of the soul. And we're going to talk about it even next week, about how 84 births have really brought the soul from its purest state to where it is in the iron aged world. So when we are meditating and we feel the aha stage, which is we are actually experiencing the soul conscious stage, that I am that point of light who had the original qualities, and now it is covered by many other smaller negative behaviors. Then you find that Jesse Smriti Vesahi Sansar. So when you have that awareness, that Smriti, that awareness, that, oh, I am the soul, that point, and you're experiencing that bliss, peace, happiness, because all the original qualities of the soul emerge at that time. We find that we don't have to really work at that time with any negative qualities, because slowly you'll find that the negative qualities themselves start to go away as these qualities are emerging again and again. And that is why we need to practice meditation so often, so that these qualities can change, these sanskars can change within us, within the soul. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other question?
There are no more questions in the chat.
Just a quick question about when you were talking about the three aspects of consciousness. Um, we use the word ego a lot. Can you speak to that in the context of the three aspects of consciousness?
Yeah. So ego
Thank you.
definitely, is, it fits the identity of the mind in that way, because ego is trying to tell you that you are the body. The false identity is that ego aspect, right? It's actually over lifetimes we have let the ego tell you that you are this body, and we've truly forgotten our true identity. Yeah. So basically, it is within the mind, ego, and it creates that false identity, and which is the real cause of all our suffering and all our sorrows. So we need to really, when we are able to shift that consciousness from body to soul, you will find that a lot of your unhappiness and suffering goes away, because the ego and the mind is not able to take over or take control, because it's not able to now tell you that, hey, you are the body, and that false identity goes away. So it basically helps us to go over that obstacle, and we are able to experience all the good virtues and good qualities, original qualities of the soul. So it's more like ego basically identifies with our roles and our relationships and achievements and titles, instead of the true self, which is the soul. Because when you say that you're the soul, you're able to identify with love and peace and happiness and so on and so forth. So ego is body consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. So it's 8:32. We are going to just, now that we are done with meditation, we will take leave from you, and we will, I think Pooja Ben is going to send you either today or tomorrow the second chapter with some information on that. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 7. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Om Shanti. Have the most wonderful day.
Thank you, Didi.
Yeah. Be soul conscious and practice that. Thank you, Baba. Om Shanti.